Blaze Media's very own Steve Baker has been in North Carolina for the past week assessing damage from Hurricanes Helene and Milton. And he joins us now to go over everything. And Steve, I see that you're right outside the Harley-Davidson. That is where Mercury One and all the donations have been going into the area. So what are some of the main issues that you're seeing in North Carolina right now?
Well, the biggest issue, obviously, is the time factor that so many people are affected with because the cold weather is coming in. As you can see, I'm already wearing a jacket, and it's going to be much colder over the next few days. And they have told me here, the operations commander here at Savage Freedom, he told me today, he said their biggest need is they need warm weather gear to get out to these people in the mountains. So many of these people have nowhere to go. There's not enough room in the facilities. The Red Cross doesn't have enough room for them. Certainly, they don't have enough hotels in the area. They are going to have to take the relief to them. And as you know, because you've been here, the airfield is right over here. I went up in a chopper today to do some recon myself to see what was out there. It was my first time to go up since I've been here. We weren't able to go into the worst locations because, as you can see, the weather is deteriorating. It's been very windy the last couple of days. So the only choppers that have been able to actually go deliver items have been the big military Chinooks that can cut through this weather. But they need the warm weather gear and continued prayers for everybody because this is not going away anytime soon. And the biggest concern they have here behind me is that they are afraid that the American people are going to forget about them and the work that is left to do. Because this is not going to be over in 2 weeks. It's not going to be over in 2 months. This is an ongoing problem for a very long time.
Steve, what can you tell us about reports of fraud and rumors of fraud? And the people are out there claiming to be reputable organizations. What's going on the ground?
You know, this is true of every disaster. There's always some criminal element that wants to take advantage of that. And it's happening here with Savage Freedom, this operational center that you see right here behind me that has taken over the Harley-Davidson Center and has set up this incredible distribution supply line for relief. I mean, we're talking about they're able to airlift, they're able to get it in with ATVs and all other manner of relief to get it in there. And because of the reputation that these guys have, that's growing daily because of how well organized they are. They are operationally, they're all ex-military, and it's run like a really finely tuned special operations operation. And as a result of that, other people are now starting to use their name to perpetrate their scams. They're going to other relief operation centers, telling them that they're with Savage Freedoms to try and get additional equipment, whatever. And they're using the name of this place to get that to perpetrate their fraud. Now it's even escalating beyond that. Is that obviously there are other elements because these guys are doing such a great job. They're embarrassing other elements, and some people are out there now claiming that these guys are one of these dangerous domestic terrorist militias that are actually doing harm and threatening government workers. Well, look, I'm here on the ground. I can tell you there's nothing further from the truth. I am here seeing them integrate daily with elements of the 101st Airborne out of Fort Campbell in Kentucky. As a matter of fact, General Donahue was here today, 3-star general who is the commander of the Airborne Corps. And I've seen them integrating with the North Carolina National Guard. I've seen them integrating with the Oklahoma National Guard. And this is a daily part of what they're doing. And the really exceptional thing and what speaks so highly about this organization that Adam Smith has built, who you see on the screen right there in the black jacket with General Donahue, is he's created such an incredible program here that he's embarrassing people. And that's why these accusations are happening. He's created such an incredible program that other people are using the reputation of this group to perpetrate frauds. So one of the things that they did today is they actually sent their volunteers as ambassadors out to all the churches. They actually, Adam said last night in their nightly briefing that he was going to make sure that they connected with every single church in Buncombe County and to let them know that if somebody comes to them claiming to be part of Savage Freedom's operations, that they were to call his personal phone number and verify that. But this speaks to the quality of the work they're doing, and that's why General Donahue was here today. He was here to get eyes on this because the reputation is growing. And as I said before, you have an actual situation where civilian volunteers are embarrassing the governmental operations, and they're doing such a great job that even the commander of the 18th Air Corps had to come here and check it out for himself.
I'm so glad that you're there right now, Steve, and just to look at everything and report back, because that's exactly what Glenn Beck and I saw when we were on the ground there as well. Now, you were talking about the armed militias and the government workers. I would like to know an update on FEMA, if they're around, if you've seen anything, if there's still a little bit of that hostility kind of between the people that are in the area, because FEMA did not show up in that area right away. I would just like an update there.
Well, let's talk about this facility and this operation first of all. FEMA is not here. And when you ask about FEMA here with the volunteers, the staff, the people that are running this operation, with a smile on their face, they just say, well, they're not here. And if you get a conversation with somebody a little bit more off the record or on background, they will tell you that what FEMA is doing is essentially handing out paperwork to be signed, forms to be filled out, applications to be made, whereas these guys in other frontline first responder civilian operations are actually getting the work done. And they're doing such a good job that you see the Oklahoma, in this video right here that I took yesterday, you see the Oklahoma National Guard with one of their Chinooks here to deliver relief goods to the mountain areas that are inaccessible by any other means. And they're getting that from this organization. So the government is coming to these guys. That's an incredible statement. But FEMA's not here. They are here in North Carolina, and they're doing what they do, which is bureaucracy. They do that very well. And the people up in the hills are frustrated with it. People are not getting what they want. They're being denied, not everybody, but people are being denied their $750. People are frustrated with having to take out loans to replace their property. And this is a disaster that's different and unlike any other. And let me explain to you. In most other disasters, we hear about people who say that they've lost everything. Here, in this disaster, you could lose more than everything. And let me explain what I mean by that. Up in my helicopter trip today, you will see where rivers, creeks, tributaries have taken a completely new path now. Along where a row of houses or a row of buildings used to be, it's now a new river. Your property is gone. So when you go to FEMA and you want to take out a loan from them at interest to try and rebuild, what bureaucracy is going to give you new land? You see how complicated that is? This is unlike anything that, it's unprecedented, except maybe every 100 years up here or more, maybe every 1,000 years.
Steve, on Saturday, Ashe County Sheriff reported that FEMA operations were paused because of a militia threat, right? As you know, just going back out to that big picture. But officials only arrested one person, so they found no evidence of the claim. Just yesterday in Rutherford County, there was an armed man apparently making threats, and I believe that he was just by himself, armed with a rifle and a handgun. What is your sense of this? Is this more rumor or is it reality?
Well, that particular instance is a reality. And look, there's tens of thousands of affected people up here, and when you have that many people, you're going to have somebody that's maybe a little wackadoodle or otherwise, or he's just not getting the help he needs, and he snaps. So that happens all the time, everywhere. It's not just because of a quote-unquote militia organization. The militia rumor is absolutely false. That is disinformation wherever it's starting from. But the reality is that these Hill people, they are self-reliant, and there are many of them that are rejecting help. And that's look, they need it. They need help. They're rejecting it from the government. The government shows up and, Reagan's famous nine words and says that, I'm with the government, I'm here to help. They're saying no. But on the other hand, if Savage Freedoms or one of the other volunteer relief organizations, civilian, come up, they'll take their assistance.
Steve, I want to get your reaction to something that happened over the weekend. Speaker Mike Johnson posted this video on X. He went out on CBS and said that they edited a statement that the Biden administration still has not provided Hurricane Helene victims the resources that they need. Let's go ahead and watch this.
So that's a different accounting than this 2% you say was distributed.
Yeah, so they've obligated some funds, but they've only distributed 2%. The rescue and recovery effort's still going on, and then we address the rest of it.
So that's a different accounting than this 2% you say was distributed.
Yeah, so they've obligated some funds, but they've only distributed 2%. And when I was there on the ground, and you should go, I mean, bring the cameras and talk to the people there. They'll tell you, don't take politicians' words for this or the administration's word. Talk to the people there on the ground. They had not been provided the resources almost 2 weeks out from the storm that they desperately needed. And when I was there, 13 days post the storm hitting that state, people are still being rescued. They're stuck in the higher elevations in the mountains because the roads are down and all the rest. So they need every available resource and all hands on deck. The rescue and recovery effort's still going on, and then we address the rest of it.
Steve, what kind of world do we live in where elected officials on the right have to then just basically, as I would assume, set his phone up in front of him and record his own answers so that you know that that's what he actually said and it wasn't edited on television?
Well, I actually do that when I do interviews for mainstream media organizations. And I learned my lesson the hard way. It was the same thing. I was once videoed for 15 minutes, and then it was chopped into 15 seconds, which made me look like a fool. So I set up my camera, this very tripod that I'm using right now. If they want to interview me, that's my rule, is I get to record the entire thing, because that is the world in which we live. And of course, Speaker Johnson is right. Whatever the funds are that are allocated, they're not getting here fast enough. And that's why these guys are so important. That's why their reputation is growing. It's because they're getting the goods and they're delivering them where they're needed as quickly as they can get them there. And the government is handing out paperwork.
Well, Steve,
bureaucracy.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for being there on the ground and letting people know what's actually going on.
Thanks, Jill.
Matthew, we heard him say warm weather gear. There's not enough room right now in all of the shelters. People there are still hurting. And I know that Mercury One has done so much so far, but you can see it right now. Just even the look in his eyes that the people there still need help.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important, like he said, that people understand that anyone who's been there is reporting back. This is going to be months and months before the situation gets any better. I'm curious, you were right there at that scene, but the Savage guys weren't there then.
He was, yeah. So Adam Smith, He has Savage Freedoms Defense, and I wish that we were related in some way, shape, or form. He's not even a technical Savage.
That was my next question.
I was like, you guys are my people. You don't even know it. No, but they were there. They are incredible. Just as Steve said, a group of ex-military guys coming together and trying to save the community because no one else. At that point, FEMA was set up for a few hours by the time that Glenn and I got there, but it was so difficult to find them. They weren't out on a main road. You couldn't see them. And these guys had been there for days already, making sure that the people in their community had what they needed.
Incredible.
It really is.